You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, it's Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? You know I miss you when we're not talking. What? You don't think I really miss you when we're not talking? Really? You don't believe me? Well, to quote Host Kitty, you can pound pause, 'cause I do miss you when we're not talking. All right? All right. Now, anybody who heard last night's show, got a couple announcements to make about that show. One, I pray I am wrong. No ifs, no ands, no maybes. I pray I am reading the tea leaves in the wrong direction. I don't want to be right. I don't want to see war on the Korean Peninsula. Because, to quote General Dunford, it would be horrific. Who's General Dunford? Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Yes, it would be horrific. I do like his idea that it's not unimaginable. But it is horrific. And I will play that audio clip for you, just to remind you of his definition of unimaginable.
Many people, and this is an important point, many people have talked about military options as with words like unimaginable. And I would probably shift that slightly and say it would be horrific. And there would be a loss of life unlike any we have experienced in our lifetimes. And I mean, anyone who's been alive since World War II has never seen the loss of life that could occur if there's a conflict on the Korean Peninsula. But as I've told my counterparts, both friend and foe, it is not unimaginable to have military options to respond to North Korean nuclear capability. What's unimaginable to me is allowing a capability that will allow a nuclear weapon to land in Denver, Colorado. That's unimaginable to me.
All right, so I'm going to say I agree with that. Having the United States attacked by North Korea is unimaginable. Unfortunately, war isn't pretty, war isn't clean. It's ugly, it's messy, it's dirty. And this would not be a war of our choosing. This would be North Korea refusing to see what I call reason. There are multiple reasons why we do not want them as a nuclear power with ICBMs. I mean, come on. You really want quackers to have his ICBMs? Because I don't. I think that sounds pretty unimaginable to me. Well, he's already got them, so I kind of can't use that anymore. But I'll use another word. It's an untenable situation. And it's not just Secretary or General Dunford that's speaking out on this. it's all through the administration. I didn't get a chance to read this to you last night, but I'm going to make a point of doing it. Then we will get on to Venezuela and their sham elections. Yes, I said sham elections. We are not giving quackers an entire show tonight. I'm sure he will come up again and I will talk nothing but the duck all night. But Secretary of State Tillerson, who is not known for being a huge talker, had a few things to say today at the press conference. Now, this statement is a little long, but it is in reference to North Korea, so we're going to take a listen.
Over the last several months, that threat has materialized in the ways that we expected it would. And that's why early on we identified it as a very urgent matter, and the North Koreans have certainly proven the urgency of that to us. We initiated a sustained and continued intensified campaign on what I like to call peaceful pressure, because the options available to us, I think, as all of you well understand, are limited, and particularly if we think we are operating under a short period of time. So we felt the appropriate thing to do first was to seek peaceful pressure on the regime in North Korea to have them develop a willingness to sit and talk with us and others, but with an understanding that a condition of those talks is there is no future where North Korea holds nuclear weapons or the ability to deliver those nuclear weapons to anyone in the region, much less to the homeland.
All right, we're going to cut it off there for a minute. I like what he's saying. And I think it's not the only good thing he has said. All right? We're going to let him finish his comments, and then we will talk about it. And then I promise you, bottom half of the show, we are moving on.
In doing so, we've sought to partner with China. China does account for 90% of economic activity with North Korea. The Chinese have been very clear with us that we share the same objective, a denuclearized Korean peninsula. They do not see it in their interest for North Korea to have nuclear weapons, just as we do not see it in anyone's interest. China has ways that they can put pressure on and influence the North Korean regime because of this significant economic relationship that no one else has. We've been very clear with the Chinese. We certainly don't blame the Chinese for the situation in North Korea. Only the North Koreans are to blame for this situation. But we do believe China has a special and unique relationship because of this significant economic activity to influence the North Korean regime in ways that no one else can. And that's why we continue to call upon them to use that influence with North Korea to create the conditions where we can have a productive dialogue. We don't think having a dialogue where the North Koreans come to the table assuming they're going to maintain their nuclear weapons is productive. So that's really what the objective that we are about is. We have reaffirmed our position towards North Korea, that what we are doing, we do not seek a regime change. We do not seek the collapse of the regime. We do not seek an accelerated reunification of the peninsula. We do not seek an excuse to send our military north of the 38th parallel. And we're trying to convey to the North Koreans, we are not your enemy. We're not your threat, but you are presenting an unacceptable threat to us, and we have to respond. And we hope that at some point...
Personally, I don't think is ever going to listen to talk. I hate to say it. I think we're facing horrific. Soon. Sooner rather than later. I don't want to see it. And for those of you who are unaware, my husband is currently stationed in South Korea. Now, our conversations have to remain private, but I will share this one thought. He doesn't want anything like that either. Okay? That's the one comment of his I feel comfortable sharing. Anything else, we'd have to go through official channels and he'd have to get permission. Because, well, even though he is my husband, still, to speak to a reporter, and yes, I consider myself a journalist, he would have to go through official channels. We're not there yet. So, I am, however, working on getting someone from the air defense group in South Korea to come on air with me. Probably not my husband, thank you. But someone who can speak somewhat to the broader picture. Now, we're almost done with North Korea. I've got one more thing I'd like to bring up that I had prepped for last night, but oh, and you never got to hear my show prep. Yes, I've got it. There has been highly unusual and unprecedented levels of North Korean submarine activity and evidence of an ejection test in the days following Pyongyang's second intercontinental ballistic missile launch this month. An ejection test examines a missile's cold launch system, which uses high-pressure steam to propel a missile out of the launch canister into the air before its engines ignite. That helps prevent flames and heat from the engine from damaging either the submarine, submersible barge, or any nearby equipment. Now, this was carried out at the Sinpo Naval Shipyard. The ejection test is the third this month and the fourth this year. The fourth time this year that North Korea has conducted a trial of the missile component that is critical to developing submarine launch capabilities. U.S. officials have also noted that the North Korean Sang-ho submarine was operating in the Yellow Sea, and the length of its deployment was notable. There were also 2 Romeo submarines detected in the waters off Japan, each one operating in the area for about a week. And, okay, so let's talk North Korean submarines for just a second. They've got the Romeo, which is their older ones, the Sang-ho, which is their primary sub, and the Gore, or Sinpo, which is their newer sub. I'm going to call it Sinpo because quite easily it's easier for your host to pronounce. Now, as far as I know, all of those subs are diesel powered. The North Korea's submarine fleet is believed to encompass about 70 subs. The majority of them are old and likely cannot fire missiles. So, this is concerning. Yes, it is very concerning. And yes, I know I got a late start, so we are going to run over the bottom of the hour so that when it's replayed, it sounds right, friends. So anybody tuning in live, thank you very much. And as always, you can hang out with me in the KLRNRadio.com chat room. Or you can tag me in a tweet at Jesse's POV. I just forgot to say it earlier. No, I'm not going to break. I know I often mention it. Now, I had an interesting email today. Yes, I did. It was asking me why I was bringing back Coffee Shop. And I'm going to spend a couple of minutes before I go to the bottom of the hour break, which, like I said, I'm going off the show clock, not the regular clock tonight. Because, unfortunately, there is no Jen and Rick, because Jen is out of town. Alright. I brought back Coffee Shop for a couple of reasons. The first one, I'm being selfish. I'll admit it. Talking quackers, talking terrorism, 5 nights a week. Well, it gets old, my friend. It gets old. I have no problem doing it. I can do it. I have proven that to you. Time and time and time again. However, I have also decided that, well, for everybody's sanity, mine, yours, and my love of books, it was time to bring back Coffee Shop. It was time. I will admit, part of my love of Coffee Shop is that I get to talk one of my favorite topics, books and writing. Now, I don't review the books on the show. Nope, not one bit. What does the show consist of? Well, for those of you who've never listened to an episode of Coffee Shop, and yes, my printer is running in the background. For those of you who have never listened to an episode of Coffee Shop, I discuss the author, the book, and the author's writing style. Do they plot out every little detail of their book? Do they write by the seat of their pants? How do they do it? And that's what I want to know. I like to know, what does their average writing day look like? What steps do they take to edit and bring you their polished book? How do they get their covers? Where do they get their ideas? So it's not just... Readers will love it, because I know everybody always wants the inside scoop. You may discover a new favorite book. I have a lot of independent self-published authors, small independent publishers. And the first episode of the relaunch of Coffee Shop will be this Friday. Like I said, Jesse's POV is moving to a Monday to Thursday night format. My same time slot on Friday. And my same slot on Friday will now become Coffee Shop. So I encourage you to tune in to hear that. And some of your favorites. Dr. Judy L. Moore, who I almost forgot. Today is release day, August 1st. Doc, your book, it's out. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. She's giving away 2 copies for free. Yes, she is giving away 2 copies for free. You heard that right. Now, for details, you'll have to check out Black Wolf Editorial. And you will have to find her scavenger hunt clues. So she did a webinar today, and it had 2 clues in it. And I know she's been tweeting other stuff out, and there's been some on Facebook, and they're all over websites. But I digress. But way to go, Doc. One of the other regulars who you might get a good kick out of if your interest isn't an online platform, you know Justin Kinney? He pops up on my show every now and again. He's got a book out, Precipice. But his is a thriller. Yes, his is a fiction thriller. Now, I've got it. I've read it. It's good. And his episode of Coffee Shop will be coming up in a couple of weeks. I do give a little bit of preference to those who have book launches coming up ahead of friends and family, as much as I would love not to. I do it. So, but I do view them all as great people. All right. Well, we are about at the 30-minute show clock mark. And we are going to pay those radio station bills. Yes. Those radio station bills. Which means I will see you on the other side. And as always, I have my Twitter up while I'm on air. And you can tag me in a tweet if you want to get my attention, and you're always welcome to join me in the KLRNRadio.com chat room. Just head on over to KLRNRadio.com/chat. And that way you get to interact with me live. All right, folks. On that note, I will see you on the other side.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
Everything is changing. Little
right. Thank y'all for hanging in there with me while we paid those radio station bills. Now, as promised, we are switching gears. I've got an audio clip here, and it's not on North Korea. This is actually on Venezuela. This is from today's State Department press conference.
First, the United States addresses our deep concern over the Venezuelan government's decision to return opposition leaders Leopoldo Lopez and Antonio Lezama to prison. We call for their immediate release. Their arrest comes 2 days after the Maduro regime's illegitimate election for a constitutional assembly, which provoked even more violence in that country on the streets, with more than 10 people killed in that alone. The United States is concerned about grave human rights abuses. As Vice President Pence has said during his recent conversation by phone with Mr. Lopez, quote, the United States stands with the Venezuelan people, and we call for the full and unconditional release of all political prisoners in Venezuela, free and fair elections, restoration of the National Assembly, and respect for human rights in Venezuela. Our thoughts and prayers reside with all of those who have suffered during Venezuela's political crisis. The United States urges the reestablishment of democracy in Venezuela and the restoration of the prosperity that Venezuelans have fought so hard to achieve. We are committed to supporting the Venezuelan people through this long struggle.
All right, so Venezuela is not very popular at the State Department. Nope. And there's a little bit more going on to that. That is not the only agency in the administration that Venezuela has lost popularity with, or is in trouble with, however you'd like to phrase it. Oh, no, no, no. There's more. And yes, you know it wouldn't be me if I wasn't shuffling show prep. Now, would it really? I don't think you'd think it was me. You'd think somebody snuck in here and did my show for me. Oh, I'd like to think you could tell an imposter from Jesse. All right. And this was actually released yesterday. I just did not have time to cover it. The U.S. Department of the Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control designated the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro Moros, pursuant to Executive Order 13692, which authorizes sanctions against current or former officials of the government of Venezuela and those undermining democracy in Venezuela. These sanctions come a day after the Maduro government held elections for a national constituent assembly that aspires illegitimately to usurp the constitutional role of the democratically elected National Assembly, rewrite the Constitution, and impose an authoritarian regime on the people of Venezuela. All right, so Nicolas Maduro was sanctioned by the Treasury Department, which means all his assets in the United States are frozen. It is a serious economic move, although it's not a huge one. But the fact that the State Department spoke out, the Treasury Department sanctioned him, and everybody seems to know about it, well, that makes it not something he can sweep under the rug. All right, how did we get Maduro? He was chosen by Chavez as his successor. He was expected to face opposition from Enrique Capriles in the upcoming election, which was due to take place within 30 days. Okay? Okay. Venezuelan political parties prepared for an intense campaign. The date was announced by the commission, and one day afterwards, Chavez's vice president and chosen successor Maduro was sworn in as acting president. Maduro faced opposition leader Capriles, the governor of Miranda State. On April 14th, 2013, Venezuela's Electoral Council declared Nicolas Maduro the winner of the nation's presidential election by a slim margin. Opposition candidate Enrique Capriles demanded a recount because it was just 50.7% of the vote. The opposition candidate had 49.1%. Okay, Maduro continued the Chavez politics that cut poverty from 50 to 29% with popular health and education and food programs. And they had a lot of oil and were spending a lot of money. Maduro vowed to continue the Chavez policies. On November 15, 2013, Venezuela's legislature voted to back Maduro's bid to rule by decree, which would give him expanded powers over the economy, and an initial vote of 99 out of 165 members of Venezuela's politics, 99 out of 165 supported the bid. A second vote to give final passage to the measure was set for November 19th. Maduro requested the special powers. Well, some people weren't happy with it and were speaking out against it. Those people went to jail. Okay? They jailed him. No trial, no nothing. You're just in jail. The entire Venezuelan government resigned on August 19, 2014. And then, December 4th, 2014, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corino met with prosecutors who told her she would be charged with conspiracy for involvement in a plot to kill Maduro. The charge carries a maximum of 16 years in prison. Machado said the government had no proof because it's false. In March 2014, government authorities announced an investigation into the plot. Of course, Venezuelan police started arresting everybody and their brother-in-law or dog-in-law, take your pick. And in 2015, Venezuela's parliament granted Maduro new powers, enabling him to legislate by decree until the end of the year. Now, the U.S. placed several sanctions on Venezuela's officials accused of human rights violations. Of course, the opposition leaders say the new powers are nothing more than a power grab. And of course, Venezuela has been having many domestic issues, including food shortages, shortage of anything. You name it, they've had the shortage. Food, toilet paper, clothes. We won't even get into higher level items. Alright, so Venezuela is definitely not looking good. So what's the recent stuff? Leopoldo Lopez and Antonio Ledesma, who'd been under house arrest, were taken to a military prison Tuesday night. Ten people were killed on Sunday as opposition boycotted the election. President Maduro said the poll was a vote for revolution, arguing that the move would create peace and foster dialogue by bringing together different sectors of Venezuela's polarized society. The opposition accused the president of trying to rewrite the Constitution in order to maximize his power and sideline the opposition-controlled legislature. And it is definitely a tough situation. Now, got a couple other topics I want to touch on real quick before we run out of time here, because I am running out of time. All right. I believe I have another comment here that I wanted to play. Yes. Secretary of State Tillerson at his press conference also mentioned a little bit about Russia. So, let's take a listen.
First, the United States addresses our deep concern.
Oh, wrong one, sorry.
So I want to turn to Russia next. And the relationship, as you know, in Russia continues to be under considerable stress. As I indicated in my first trip to Moscow and meetings at the Kremlin with President Putin, following those meetings, the relationship was at a historic low since the end of the Cold War, and it could get worse. And the question, I think, of the events of the last week or so is it getting worse, or can we maintain some level of stability in that relationship and continue to find ways to address areas of mutual interest and ways in which we can deal with our differences without those becoming open conflicts as well. We have explored in the early days one area of mutual interest, which is terrorism. And we've chosen the theater in Syria as a place in which we test our ability to work together. We share the common view of ISIS as a threat to both of our countries, and so we are committed to the defeat of ISIS, Daesh, other terrorist organizations. And then we are committed to the stability of Syria following the battle to defeat ISIS. Clearly, Russia has aligned itself early on in the conflict with the Syrian regime and Bashar al-Assad, which we find to be unacceptable.
All right. Now, I got one more audio clip, and then we're going to talk about that testing here in the U.S.
And it continues to be our view that the Assad regime has no role in the future governing of Syria. The sequencing of all of that, we're open to, as long as that's what is achieved at the end. The second condition we have is that Iran's military influence, the direct presence of Iranian military forces inside of Syria, they must leave and go home. Whether those are Iranian Revolutionary Guard forces or whether those are paid militias, foreign fighters that Iran has brought into Syria in this battle. Those are our two in-state conditions, and those are shared by many of our coalition partners the world over. So we're working with the Russians. We've achieved one small measure of success by working in concert with Jordan to create a de-escalation zone, a zone of ceasefire in the southwest part of Syria, which thus far is holding.
So we are trying to do a little bit of cooperating with Russia. We are not, absolutely not, on the best of terms with them. All right, so what's this about testing here in the U.S.? All right. U.S. prepares to test launch unarmed, repeat, U.S. prepares to test launch an unarmed ICBM from California. That is the fourth such test this year. They're planning on testing an unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile launch with a launch from California. The 30th Space Wing says the missile is to be launched between 12:01 and 6 a.m. Wednesday from Vandenberg Air Force Base, about approximately 130 miles, that's 209 kilometers, northwest of Los Angeles. Minuteman missiles are regularly tested with launches from Vandenberg that send unarmed re-entry vehicles 4,200 miles or 6,800 kilometers across the Pacific to a target area at Kwajalein Atoll. However, the latest U.S. launch comes amid tensions with North Korea. Come on, we all know that. In response, U.S. Air Force to the North Korean launch, the U.S. Air Force, of course, flew 2 Wimby bombers over the Korean peninsula in a show of force. The U.S. said it also conducted a successful test of missile defense systems located in Alaska. Previous Minuteman ICBM launches this year were conducted in February, April, and May. That month, the Air Force also conducted a test of a missile interceptor launched from Vandenberg. The interceptor destroyed a mock warhead over the Pacific. So, North Korea is not the only one testing their ICBMs and testing what they can do. Unlike them, we don't need to research it. We just want to make sure the equipment is still in functioning order. All right. We are almost out of time. Yes. And there's a couple other little quirky things. I just had to end the show with something a little bit lighter tonight. Yes, I did. So, we are gonna do a couple quick news oddity spinners and talk about some slightly more random stuff. Sirens wailed across Poland's capital Tuesday as the country marked the 73rd anniversary of the Warsaw Uprising. That was a doomed revolt against the occupying Germans during World War II. The German embassy in Warsaw flew its flags. The German and European Union had half-staffed to honor the victims. Then we've got France and the migrants. France is facing criticism. After banking on neglect, hostility, and mistreatment to discourage a steady trickle of migrants, the new French government was ordered by France's highest administrative body to do better this week and at least provide water and toilets to the people. The order has diffused for now a new migrant crisis brewing at the northern port of Calais, the favored would-be jumping-off point for Britain. Yet a permanent solution to France's slow-boiling migrant problem still appears to be distant. Up to 1 million migrants are in refugee camps in Libya alone, as Mr. Marcon pointed out in a speech which he highlighted his own recent peacemaking initiative for Libya. He also called for broader European involvement in African development as a long-term solution to the migrant crisis. Yes, there has been many attempts of migrants to leave where they are. So, Mr. Marcon wants a fresh start on policy regarding migrants, but until last week he'd mainly allowed his tough-talking interior minister to set the tone. All right. NATO jets also intercepted a Russian aircraft near East Estonian airspace. So, I mean, there's a lot going on that I just don't always have time to cover. I found this one was amusing. Russia just locked U.S. diplomats out of an embassy building before they could get their stuff. The embassy in Moscow accused Russian authorities on Monday of barring diplomatic staff from a property on the outskirts of Moscow after having earlier granted access until midday on Tuesday for them to retrieve belongings. Now, of course, the Russian Foreign Ministry did not immediately respond. The property in the picturesque spot on a bend in the Moskva River northwest of the Russian capital is leased by the U.S. embassy staff for its use for recreation. Moscow has said it's taking it back as part of retaliatory measures after Washington approved a fresh round of sanctions against Russia. An embassy spokeswoman said, in line with the Russian government notification, the U.S. mission to Russia was supposed to have access to our dacha until noon on August 1st. We have not had access all day today or yesterday. We refer you to the Russian government to explain why not. All right, one more thing I wanted to bring up. You have certainly all heard of the serve the United States military and get fast-tracked to citizenship. Well, several congressmen and senators are raising the possibility that, well, first of all, some of those people have slipped off the radar. And what if that program was infiltrated by people that wanted to do us harm? And as the terrorists are returning home from presumably Syria and Iraq and having been trained by Daesh or ISIS, ISIL, what have you, same group, multiple names, this is a concern. I love the men and women that wear the uniform. You know this. You know I will say that until I draw my last breath. But I just wanted to bring that one to your attention. All right, folks. Regulars, you know what's coming. New friends, buckle your seatbelt and hang on for the ride. And as a reminder, you can always find me on Twitter at Jessie's POV. You can email me at the station at jessiespov@klrnradio.com. Or if you're looking for the coffee shop show, you can email me at jessie@klrnradio.com. And on that note, friends,